Hey everybody, Privacy Smurf here from Zenalytics Trading with your Fear and Greed update to keep you one step ahead of the retail market.
This is your sentiment update for the week ending Friday, April 19th, 2024. Sorry for the sunglasses. I just really wanted to be outside on this beautiful day, and this is a little bit better than me squinting into the camera. If you're interested in the crypto market, we just had the Bitcoin halving. There's a lot of analysis out there on how Bitcoin price action is affected by the halving. I think there's a big misunderstanding of this relationship, and I wrote a short post about it. You can find that in the description below. I also recently posted my analysis on the crypto market and projections for the second quarter this year. You can find that below as well. It may offer some insight into some possible timing for getting back into the market after this recent downturn. Kicking things off with Bitcoin, sentiment is down this week. We're measuring at 49 with a majority bearish sentiment. As suggested last week, this shift coincided with the downside break from 64K. There are no predictive elements to the chart at this moment, although often there is a bounce or consolidation around the midline. Lower to middle intraday timeframes are suggesting that we're forming a bottom. Wicking below 69K is still a possibility. Consolidating in a range here from 60 to 68K for a while and flashing below the lows a few times wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for the long-term picture. It would allow time for momentum to start to increase and create bullish divergences. There was a huge hit to sentiment this week. It blew through the midline and is now measuring at about 26. There's no predictive elements at the moment, but we are quickly approaching the fear zone. Sentiment levels on the daily time frame will need to be monitored throughout the week for a possible entry and reversal signal. I'll be watching sentiment on the daily time frame because if prices stabilize during the week, it's possible that the weekly time frame sentiment won't reach into the fear zone. You can join the Discord through the link below to see the updates Monday through Friday. Last week I mentioned trade targets from bearish divergences between price and momentum. The initial targets on the daily time frame at around 50.60 have been hit. There are still secondary targets at around 48.60, but speculatively those feel a bit far at the moment. The initial target on the weekly time frame still remains at 49.40, and that looks pretty possible within this next week. US dollar index sentiment is up again this week, measuring at 86. Daily measurements on sentiment are still up in the greed zone, but they've started to fall. It's tough to make a technical call on the Dixie at the moment. There is evidence to suggest a local top has been formed, but all the bearish divergences on the daily time frame have been invalidated. Momentum has regained new highs, and it's suggesting bullish continuation. Bringing in some speculation, perhaps we don't see the Dixie fully retrace immediately, but consolidate around these local highs before making a bigger fall. Typically being an inverse relationship with stocks and crypto, since the Dixie measurements were high this week, we did see downtrending price action in those other assets. If the Dixie moves as mentioned earlier, this may translate into another potential week of bearishness or consolidation around local lows before we start seeing some higher highs and higher lows. I'm doing such a bad job recording this and doing so many takes, the sun started to go away, so no more sunglasses. Sentiment on gold futures is slightly up this week. The upside continuation suggested last week played out. Now sentiment is measuring around 82 and it's still in the greed zone. Being at this level, I'm still watching for reversal signals. Technicals now match my speculation from last week on downside targets. On the daily time frame, a bearish divergence trade signal has appeared, and it's putting initial targets around the 2300 level. It is still possible we flash above those highs before we hit that target. Intraday technicals haven't rolled over completely into full-on bearish momentum, but there does seem to be a slowdown in that bullish momentum. A breakdown is possibly on the horizon. Last but not least, the 30-year bond contract. Sentiment is down this week, creating a new lower low. We have majority bearish sentiment measuring in at about 42. There aren't any predictive elements to the chart at the moment, and sentiment will most likely match price action. Technical analysis would suggest there's more possible downside. This may not be a dramatic decrease, but probably a flash below the recent lows. It's possible we may be seeing some short-term bottoming formation over the next few weeks.
Just a reminder, sentiment is great as an indicator, but it's really best utilized with some objective form of technical analysis to generate a signal to act on sentiment readings. If you like this analysis and want to help keep your emotions in check, pop into the Discord. I update sentiment there daily and have a bunch of extra tools and analysis that can elevate your trading game. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next week.